Air Force Ken spent any time at the new YMCA on Clyde Fant Parkway, and chances are you've seen him in action.
But as Marie Waxel explains, his fitness journey has been anything but easy, as KSLA salutes his mission to inspire others.
What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. A lesson Airman Ken Corgliano learned the hard way.
I failed my first Air Force fitness test in officer training.
It was in that moment Corgliano gained a new outlook on life.
And it was really embarrassing to me to have failed my fitness test. So that really motivated me to never, ever not be fit. And also in the rest of my life to be ready for anything and be prepared.
Corgliano's fitness level continues to soar to new heights, which eventually landed him a spot on Sylvester Stallone's Ultimate Beastmaster show.
It was the hardest experience I've ever had in my life because there's so many elements that I'd never encountered before. Cameras and lights and timelines and celebrities and the amount of talent that showed up there was incredible, and I was just I'm a guy that types on the computer all day. You know, what could I possibly do against all these guys?
Corgliano put his heart into the competition, earning the nickname Air Force Ken.
My last name, it's pretty tough to pronounce, so some of the announcers were just like, okay, you're Air Force Ken now. And I really like that, though, because it lets everyone know that I'm not a professional at this. You know, I'm serving our country. You know, I'm a father. You know, I'm a husband, I'm a son, I'm a godfather. You know, I'm just like everybody else.
Having recently made Shreveport Bossier his home, the elite obstacle course racer is always looking at ways to better himself and those around him.
I'm hoping to be part of the community and have the community be part of me. And I'm hoping that I can bring my skill sets and my energy and benefit those around me. And that's whatever else happens out of that, I'll be happy as a clam.
Spreading love, reminding others to never give up.
It's okay to fail. Failing is a learning experience. It's the motivation behind the failure. So instead of getting disenfranchised, empower yourself. And you need to find a reason to reach that goal, and that reason has to consume you every day so that it makes you wake up with the fire in your stomach. That's really the missing link, and the process to get to that goal has got to be fun. If you have those three ingredients, you'll succeed.
Marie Waxel, KSLA News 12.
Well, tonight's KSLA Salutes takes us to Hangar 4 on the Barksdale Flight Line. It's home to one of 3 firehouses on base. Just like their civilian counterparts, firefighting is no easy task.
They spend most of their time training and preparing for calls nobody wants to imagine. KSLA News 12's Marie Waxel gives us a look at firefighters on Barksdale Air Force Base tonight.
When most go running out, these guys go running in.
This truck holds 3,000 gallons of water, 420 gallons of foam.
Military firefighters do much more than fight fires. They perform inspections to minimize fire dangers, provide first aid to accident victims, and respond to hazardous material spills.
We are not like a typical 9-to-5 job. We don't work just a simple 8 hours a day. You know, we work 24-hour shifts with our coworkers.
The 3 stations on base look like most fire stations across the country. There's a kitchen, weights, bunks, and plenty of space to train. And just like their civilian counterparts, firefighters here on base have 60 seconds to get into full gear after receiving an emergency tone. Their mission is simple: protect the base and its people. But when you add the flight line and military aircraft into the mix, things can get pretty tricky.
Standby crash. Standby crash.
So we have to really learn, you know, what those bombers are capable of, how many, you know, gallons of fuel they can hold, all these different things, and how we would respond to them in different scenarios.
For Airman First Class Nicholas Kuko, joining the Air Force was a childhood dream.
I really love to help people.
Being an Air Force firefighter only fuels his desire to serve.
We protect the people on base, but I'm an airman first, you know. I'm an airman all the time, whether I'm in uniform or out of uniform, and that, you know, in and of itself is a way to protect the people.
It's the dual aspect of them protecting their country and protecting the base and the base populace. So I'm really proud of all these guys. They really do a great job.
Station Chief Adam Lynch says the Brotherhood of Firefighters stretch beyond the confines of the base. Barksdale Fire works closely with Shreveport-Bossier's area departments, knowing they can be called off or on base at any time if needed.
You have to rely on your brothers, you know, in case anything happens. So, you know, just that bond, that brothership is probably my most, you know, exciting part of that job.
And the everyday sights, well, they're not too bad either.
It is beautiful. It's really cool to get to work around these types of aircraft every single day.
At Barksdale Air Force Base, Marie Waxel, KSLA News 12.
The men and women who served our country during World War II are leaving us rapidly as time marches forward. With much of the greatest generation now in their late 80s and 90s, hundreds of these veterans are dying every day, according to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs.
And as the U.S. works to honor their legacy and share their stories, we love every opportunity for them to share their stories with all of us. Tonight, KSLA News 12 salutes Corporal Canik Lewis. Marie Waxel has his story.
I'm Canik Lewis. I was a corporal in the United States Army.
December 2nd, 1941. Just 5 days before the attack on Pearl Harbor, the Louisiana native was drafted into the military. 7 months later, he was sent to war.
For 16 days and 15 nights that I was on blue water. Look up, blue sky, look down, blue water.
76 years later, he can still recall his job as a driver for a quartermaster trucking company in the European theater, hauling troops and supplies to those in the field.
But it's bringing in all the way from 5,000 to 6,000 people on the ship, and I was holding 31 to the load with the lieutenant or captain, whoever it might have been. Came out there, drop them, come on back and get another load. Always out in the bushes and the woods.
After nearly 3 years on the war front,
The lieutenant said, "We come to get you. You can go home." I said, "Go home?" I said, "Lieutenant, don't tell me that." Get me all goofed up. He said, "Well, see, I tell you, Louis, if you don't want to go, so I can go in your place." I looked at him then, you know. I said, "You ain't joking around?" And he said, "No."
Lewis began his transition home on May 28, 1945, flying into New York City.
I must have been overjoyed, glad. I got on up there flat on the ground.
From there, Lewis went to Mississippi, where he passed up $300 to re-enlist and opted to end his military career.
He said, "You got enough of it?" I said, "Yes, I got enough of it." It's all right. So you're discharged, and I hope you good luck.
Lewis returned to Louisiana, where he eventually met and married Annie, the love of his life for the last 55 years.
He's being right to each other. That's the secret.
At 98 years old, there's a lot Lewis forgets, but his time serving our country is something that never fades away.
It's a great honor to be and knowing that you was part of that back in them days, a generation that fighting for your country.
In Natchitoches, Marie Waxel, KSLA News 12.